Hello again. In this installment of Spiritual Wisdom, I'm grateful to all of you who follow me here and of this little community here on YouTube. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope you're doing well. My name is Nicholas. And on my channel, I talk about witchcraft, Wicca, paganism, self-love, crystals and their magical properties, as well as plants and their magical properties. I also do readings on the channel and talk about all matter of philosophical and spiritual topics. So if you're interested in those types of things, you know what to do. Please subscribe, join this amazing community, and click the bell icon to be notified each time I upload a new video. Now today's video is a philosophy video, but it also ties in with self-love, and it's about never abandon yourself. Now, why should we never abandon ourselves? Because in life, people will come and go. People will come and go, and you'll feel alone, or you'll be left with yourself. Now let me explain what I mean. But people will come and go in your life. There will be people that come into your life. You may see these people as friends. You may call them a friend. You may trust these people, but sometimes in life, you find out later on what the person you called a friend was not really your friend. They were a toxic, negative person, or they were a narcissist. If you're very unlucky, they were a sociopath. And it's like, when you've got like a negative person, sometimes you don't see that person's true colours. Sometimes your intuition doesn't even, though your intuition is your friend, sometimes someone enters your life and your intuition does not always alert you to someone's true colours. Because sometimes it's like a dirty window, in the sense that person's behind the window, and then you're at the other side of the window. Now the dark, like you can't really see through a dirty window, but in this case the dirty window's metaphorical, spiritual, in a sense. But the dirty window is got all the dirt on it. It's like that dirt is the way you see that person. You see that individual. But it's the dark. You see them in a specific light. You see them in a specific way. You can't actually see their true colours, their true intentions. But then, once that person breaks your trust, they betray you, it's like a clean window. You can see that person's true colours. But that takes time, more often not. And we've all been, if you're a kind, compassionate, empathetic person, then there will be a time you experience betrayal. And also, this is where boundaries help you. It's so important to have boundaries in life, because toxic or narcissistic people, they want to test your boundaries to see what they can get away with. But when you're kind, compassionate, you see the best in other people, or you tend to see the good in everyone. Or if you're a good person, you tend to think that people are as good or as compassionate as you are, but that is not the reality. And I know that because I've experienced betrayal, hardship, so I know what that is like. But these people, it could be an individual, it could be more than one person, what you called a friend. You trusted this person, you built a relationship up with this person, you always showed up for this person, but this person may have shown up, or they made excuses, but they played mind games with you, they gaslighted you, but you weren't aware of their true intentions, and they used you. But their intention was, maybe they went into your life thinking you've got a lot of money, when maybe they found out that was true, but you were quite well off financially. So their intention was to become your friend so they could take you to the cleaners. Or maybe they find out you're not as financially well off as they thought you were, so they leave your life. Or sometimes they keep, if you've got a toxic, negative friend, they keep worming their way in, keep trying to play mind games. But once you see their true colours, you start saying no, you stand up to these people. They start to leave your life. They leave your life by choice. Sometimes they've used you, but then they look at you, they treat you like a pawn. They use you, and they might say the right things, the right words, and you suck it all in. You're taking it in like a sponge. And rather than take it with a pinch of salt, you take it in with a sponge, as you do, and then once you're no longer used to that person, they toss you aside like trash. And then they've left your life. So sometimes they leave your life once you've caught on to them and you see their true colours, or sometimes they use you, and then once you're no longer of use, they leave you. And that does cause you trauma, pain, suffering. And you need to, and when that happens, that person leaves your life that way, when you've got a fake friend or a toxic person who leaves your life, you need to heal from that, process that, but in many ways it's like you've dodged a bullet. And on the other hand, there are people in your life what you love and they love you too. The love is reciprocated. So I've experienced this like with family members. Like I loved like my Auntie Janet who passed away, but she lived to a good around about good age, but she did pass away as well. My Auntie Tina, she lived to a really good, well, she was quite young when she died and it was cancer she died of, but as well, but I was very close to both my aunties, and then my grandfather who recently died this year. So you build up this relationship with people. They show up for you, you show up for them. And in that sense of had health relationships, I know a lot of you watching, you may have had a true friend, or you may have had people in your family that you're really close to. But these people leave your life not out of choice, they don't want to leave your life, but when it's their time and they pass away, and then you go through a grieving process, which is natural, but they leave your life not out of choice because it's their time as well. And in a sense, we've all got borrowed time in this earth, and I'll talk about that in later videos, but in a sense, we've all got borrowed time. So that individual, you know, shows up for you, show up for them, and you keep building that relationship, but they leave your life one day because their times came. They were a spiritual being, just as you are, having a human experience, experiencing a human life, something they've done many times before, just as you have, but their human journeys came to an end, and now every ending is a new beginning, so that person, their soul, is a new journey. But in a sense, the people that love us are never truly gone. They're still with you, they're just in a different plane of existence, and you can still communicate with them, connect with them, and you're never truly alone in life because you've always, your angels and guides are always there. But there will be a time in your life, but it's very dark, very difficult, where like your toxic friends, they leave your life because you've caught on to them, or you've seen their true colours, or they used you and you're no longer of use. And then there'll be family members that you were really close to, but they pass away, so you feel alone by yourself. And because you feel alone by yourself, you might, because a lot of people, they don't love themselves because we were never taught to love ourselves, to look after ourselves. And self-love is just like any other relationship. It's something you build on day after day. Just like if you've got a sister, a brother, or a partner, and you've got a healthy relationship with this individual, you build on that relationship every day. So self-love is having a relationship with yourself. But you can abandon yourself because you're not in a good place mentally, emotionally. So you can, and because you feel you've got no one, or no one in your life, because you feel you've got absolute no one, because the traitors have left, and sometimes we even settle for bad company because we think something's better than nothing, because we're afraid of being alone, which is not true. If they're toxic, or if, as I like to say, if they're rats, get rid of them. And when it comes to family members who were really good and you loved them and you had a good connection with them, it's sad because they've left your life. But they're always there in spirit form, but you feel alone. But the way you come back that is by looking after yourself, doing things, learning to enjoy your alone time. You know, that could be reading books that you love and enjoy. That, in my case, like I love to read, when I'm by myself, I love to read like my favourite books and like have a beautiful herbal tea. Meditation, I love to do that as well. And meditation is a self exercise, something you can do by yourself. And I enjoy my alone time. It's not why I don't enjoy spend time with others, spend time with the right people. But when you're alone by yourself, or you feel alone or abandoned, know what you're not, because the universe sees you. But when you're alone by yourself, you mustn't abandon yourself. You must look after yourself. And you do that, number one, by learning to enjoy your own company and filling your spare time. Look at the time you've got alone by yourself as your spare time, and fill your spare time with hobbies. That could be if you're very much into art, music, reading, you know, and if you're, and many of you are on a spiritual path here as well, filling your spare time with spiritual exercises like meditating on a Pacific crystal, or doing some, or meditating with Pacific plant, or meditating with your angels or guides, or doing some type of meditational practice will also help you. And also like going to the gym, swimming, walking in nature, exercising, doing things that are good for you, and taking care of yourself as well. Because it's like sometimes in life, there's someone in your life, there'll be someone, sometimes in your family unit. You see this a lot in like TV shows like the soaps and all that, but sometimes in life, in real life as well, there'll be sometimes a family member which their wife is, they're going for a divorce, a messy divorce, or they're going for an aggrievement. You know, that they've lost someone really dear to them and they feel alone, they're in a really bad place, but they let themselves go. The house is a mess, they let their health go, they can either not eat at all, get into that stage of not eating at all, or overeating, and you know the house is just a mess, a tip, and that person's spiraling out of control because they're not in a good place. Now, self-love helps you take back your power. It helps you get your life back on track. And that's one of the biggest lessons that self-love has taught me. And it's so important never to abandon yourself. Yes, for a time you may feel alone because you've got no friends in your life. Yes, family members that are dear to you have left you. But spiritually speaking, you're never alone because your angels and guides are always with you and they can guide you. And sometimes you may feel alone, or you may feel in that icky stage, but you'll always find the right people and you'll find what's meant for you when the time is right as well. But never abandon yourself is really what self-love teaches you, because people will come and go in your life. And as you go through life, like everyone in this life is on a journey and everyone's journey is unique. But as we go through this journey of life, a lot of us will experience similar things, will experience similar experiences as well. We will experience that, similar experiences. And it's so important when you're, because self-love is a journey as well. Walking your own spiritual path is a personal journey as well. So there are many journeys we as human beings go through in this life, but as you go through the journey of life itself, and as you get older, and none of us really know how long our life will be, you know, and you know, but as you go through life, and as you go through, the older you get, people will come and go out of your life. But when you're alone by yourself, it's important to look after yourself, to take care of yourself, and never to abandon yourself, and never let yourself go, you know, sort of thing. And that's what self-love helps you with as well. As always, I hope this message helps, I hope it resonates, but as well, and I find it's just so important never to abandon yourself in life, no matter what happens, because throughout your whole life, you've got you throughout your whole life. Like if you, for example, but none of us really know how long or short our life will be, but let's say you were to live to age 56. You were to live to that age, okay? Well, throughout your 56 years of being on this earth, till you get to that age, throughout your whole life, there'll be moments where you're alone by yourself, or people will come and go, and there'll be times in your life, but as you creep up to that age, you'll be, you know, there'll be times where you are alone by yourself, and you've got to learn to be okay with being by yourself, to fill your spare time with hobbies, interests, and to really take good care of yourself. Because you don't, like, yes, people can add to your life, but you don't need people to have fun or to enjoy life, is really the message I'm getting here, trying to put across. You should never abandon yourself, no matter what, because 56 is a really good age if you're going to live to that. No one knows. You could live to 70, you could live at any age. Life. But even if you live to a really good age, life is still short. In the grand scheme of things, life is still short. So you want to love being you, because you only get one chance to be you, and make the most of your life as well. And always take care of yourself and love yourself and never abandon yourself as well. And that's the message in this video today. As always, take care, look after yourself, walk your spiritual path with pride, and if you're part so much for me, stay with you. May meet, may part again. Blessed be.